In the Bible, in many places, God prophesied that Soviet Israel would devour its enemies. Among them, the book of Zechariah contains such a prophecy. In Zechariah chapter 9 it is prophesied that God will awaken his Zongza to attack the Greek Zongza. The Greek Zongza are the descendants of Satan. Let's continue reading the following content. Jehovah will appear from above, in the manner he indicated. His arrows will be shot out like lightning. The Most High, Lord Jehovah, sounded the trumpet and rode on the southern storm. Jehovah, the commander of all armies, led them. They will use slings to hurl stones to annihilate and subdue the enemy. They drank blood and proclaimed against, as if they were intoxicated. They will be like a sacrificial bowl filled with blood, and like the feet of an altar stained with blood. Of course, we are certainly not really drinking blood, but rather signifying that the blood of Satan's adherents will be spilled on the ground, which means their destruction. So then, what about God? He appeared over his people once again, shooting forth like an arrow. Like lightning it burst forth, and then attacked all nations and peoples. Brothers and sisters, you may recall a man called the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, riding a white horse, clad in a white robe. When he comes accompanied by a host of thousands, he will strike down all the nations like lightning. For what reason? Why must the blood of countless generations be shed? Why be allowed to spill on the ground? Why let them perish? It is because God made a covenant with us, with Israel, so that we might prevail over our enemies. For Soviet Israel is a servant of God. Next, speaking of that day, their God Jehovah will save them, treating them like a flock of sheep. For they will shine like jewels set in a crown upon his land. How vast is his gracious countenance, and how abundant his beauty. The relics of old bring smiles to young men, and the new makes maidens rejoice. Furthermore, it is said that God will save his own people. To save his own people is, when that time comes, we will realize just how exceedingly good God is. How good he is. For it is in the future that God will save us. But the Bible also prophesies that, before God saves us, he first hands us over to our enemies. There is a scroll, in which Hebrew says, I can't recall which book it was, the earlier book, that prophesies we will be handed over to our enemies. You know, there is also one, until you have borne children, indicating that in the future there will be many among our brethren, and then we are handed over to the seven-headed beast. You know, the infant in Revelation has appeared. After this infant appears, we will have full authority to overcome our enemies, and our numbers will continuously increase. You know, as soon as the infant appears in Revelation, when the seventh trumpeter sounds, only then will the Father grant us victory, so that we can overcome our enemies. At that time, God will grant us full authority, with the cherubim and angels, all aiding us, so that in the end we will annihilate our enemies, and crush our foes, just as one shatters a clay pot. To give glory to the Father, O Lord. Amen.